Hi guys, PJ back again. Today fitting a Nextbase dashcam with the aid of a Nextbase fitting kit into a 2021 Nissan Juke. Now this is the later model. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually show you where the fuse box is on this. So it's slightly different from the older one. What you're going to do, open your glove box. And at the back there is a panel. Just tell you this in your owner's guide guys, but there we go. Pull that, take that out. Much easier to get to than the older model. There we go. There's all your fuses. We're going to be using one of those to power your dash cam, and we're going to be using something called a fuse spur to tap power from the fuse and to provide power to the camera. This is plug and play, so in other words it can be reversed if your car's a lease or something like that where you need to reverse it when you take the car back to the dealer for some reason. You can take it out and put it into your new car. Okay, so let's have a look what we get in the fitting kit. Starting on this side here, we get a replacement power cable for the camera. So obviously the Nextbase camera in this instance is a USB, so we've got a mini USB going on there. That's to the camera end. On the other end, it terminates in an earth connection, which you put to like a chassis earth. I'll show you where very shortly. And we also have a power cable which terminates in a bullet connector. The bullet connector goes to your fuse spur, which is included in the kit. Kit includes 2 fuse spurs. A larger one which is used for a lot of old commercial vehicles. Some Mercedes are still using. We won't be using this one on this kit. We will be using a mini blade fuse spur, which is this one. Now what this does basically is this plugs in where you've pulled a fuse from the fuse box and doubles up the socket. So you'll have a 2 or a 3 amp fuse here to run the camera, and the original fuse you took out the fuse box just here next to it to run the original circuit. That obviously leaves you a wire loose to plug into your power cable to power your camera without doing any damage or any soldering or anything like that to the vehicle. I will be showing you which fuse to use and how to test for your specific model, because fuse boxes do vary from year to year, specification, also where they're sold in the world. So your fuse box might be different to the one on this vehicle that I'm working on. You will have to test. I'll show you how to do that later. Okay, we also get this. This is a ferrite filter, and what we do, we wrap this cable, this end, round and through this and back out. So what I'm going to do is open that up. It's on a hinge, 2 catches here, look, hinge on the other side. We're going to open that up and put the cable through it right now. Prepare the cable to go to the top of the windscreen in the vehicle. There's our ferrite filter fitted. So the cable basically went through the centre of it. We wrapped it round the back of it and back through on the hinge that it's got. So when it's opened out and flat, we're going around the back and then back through, just looping the loop basically. What this is for is to help with DAB radio interference. Okay, if you're running just a front dash cam, you should be perfectly fine. Your DAB radio should be okay. We've got a filter on here, it should help. If you're running a front and rear, word of warning, rear dash cams can play absolute havoc with DAB radio. So sort of dummy test it, plug your rear camera in and plug it in your cigarette lighter and just test it, power it up, make sure you don't lose your DAB signal. Very common problem, and at the moment is, well, not easy to cure. So front camera, no problem. Front and rear, plug it in, test it first before you go to the trouble of running any wires. Okay, so we're going to put a couple of cable ties periodically down the wire and snip them off, and that's to make it a bit bulkier so it stays up behind the headlining of the vehicle. Last thing you want, you hit a pothole, cable dangles down in front of you while you're driving along. Don't want that. So we're just going to pad it out a little bit. Okay, so we've popped a couple of cable ties around the cable. Sorry it's a bit dark guys, we've got really bad glare from the low winter sun here. And there's a power cable hanging. With your headlining, you can normally just get your fingers just behind it enough and you can just ease it. It's very fragile, it's made of like a fibre stuff, so be very careful. Don't go at it like a bull in a china shop, just ease it down and tuck your cable up and above it until you get to the corner here. Yeah, this corner. And what we're going to do is pull the rubber seal off and pop this away and tuck the cable behind the airbag that runs down here. Don't worry, the airbag's got some pliability, you can definitely move it. To aid in removing trim, I suggest you get something like this. This is a plastic trim removal tool. Don't use a screwdriver to remove trim, it will definitely dint it and make a mess. These are about £1 or so from eBay, Amazon. You can also get those fuse spurs from eBay, Amazon. Again, a couple of quid, no big deal. Just make sure you get the right size mini blade and you'll be laughing. And there we go. The white thing is the airbag. And as you can see, you can get your finger behind it, look. no problem, plenty of room to put a cable behind it. So we're going to tuck the cable behind it and then run it down the A-pillar of the vehicle. There we go, there's your power cable run behind your airbag. This can be tricky to pop off, it's on a little press stud thing, you've got to pull it. This is a brand new vehicle, delivery mileage only, so it was quite firmly on, it's never been popped off before. But you just put your fingers behind it, just sort of pop it off like so, you shove it back on again when you're done with it. Next up, we're going to pop this end panel off. I've already started here, look, so you put your leverage tool in, pop all the way around it. It's on basically press stud clips all the way around, pop, 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 and then pull it out. Need 2 hands for this, guys, so you'll see this in a minute removed and I'll show you the back of it. There we can see the plastic clips that hold it in. Like so, take that away. It's on some lugs at the back there. And what that does is basically reveal some nice 13mm mounting bolts here that we can use as a good earth point for your black cable. So we're going to take that out and attach our black cable to it. Either will do, by the way. You can use the lower one if you want. It's totally up to you. There's the bolt out that we've just removed from the dashboard. There's your black wire, and what I've actually done, I've snipped off the little horseshoe that comes with it and put on a round terminal onto it. It's just a bit of extra security. The little horseshoes are quite feeble. I fit these things every single day, and to be honest with you, I've seen a few snaps, so I like to beef them up where possible. I'm going to put that on the bolt, stick the washer behind it, pop the bolt back in, you've got a nice solid earth there. So now we're onto the power side, guys. What we're going to do is feed your power cable, this one, up through underneath the glove box, which is very easy to do on these. If you put your hand underneath, you can get to this corner here and then sort of drag it across to wherever you need to go. You're going to need to get a multimeter or one of those little test probes that light up when you touch a circuit. What we're going to do with our test probe or multimeter is touch onto a fuse, an accessory fuse, nothing critical, so no airbags, ECU or anything like that. We'll use an accessory fuse. I've done a few of these, and most of the ones that I've worked on so far, this 15 ampere that I'm touching, that goes on and off with the ignition. So if we have a quick look at the voltage, let me turn my multimeter around, of course. Come here. That's ignition off, we have 0 volts, which is what you want. Now if we turn the ignition on, ignition is now on, and there you go, 12 volts, which is exactly what you want. Turn the ignition off, that goes off. So there's an on and off power source for your camera. So we're going to turn the ignition off, pull this fuse out, pop it in our fuse spur, and pop our fuse spur into that slot. There's a fuse that we've just removed from the fuse box, and that basically goes in there, sits next to the little 2 or 3 amp to run your camera. There's the fuse spur plugged back into the original slot where the 15 amp fuse came from. Please note the orientation of it so that power flows the right way through the fuse. Power cable disappears basically up here, up the top, round, down and back into the footwell like I was saying earlier. You've now got power successfully to your camera, and now is the time to test your camera. It goes on and off with the ignition. So let's give it a go. Let's turn the ignition on. Yes, I have got it dangling by its power wire because I've got to put a different installation kit into this one, but still. And there we go, on it comes. Sun's shining on it, guys, but I assure you it's on. We have got a display. I can just turn it, there you go. There you go. And that's on. And if we turn it off, you'll hear it ding, and off it goes. There we go. That's it. Now we've got to put our trim panels back together. And there you go, guys, trim panels back on. It looks just shown you there, just sort of hooks in and then push shut, should be rubber seal back on. Don't forget to put your fuse box cover back on, and that is how you install a dash cam in a 2020 Nissan Juke. Obviously that works for the preceding years after that as well. Thanks for watching, bye for now.